Hello, fellow heroes. Today, I gotta talk about Pokemon Z through A. Now, usually, I buy games, I play them for a couple hours on stream, I go see what the internet says about them, I compare it with my own experience, and I try to give you guys as much information as possible to inform you on a purchasing decision or to inform you on what the industry looks like. I did not buy this game. The writing was on the wall for this game. It's a $70 Pokemon game that I just don't have the money for with all the other game releases that were coming out, and my love for Pokemon has faded since X and Y, and I just avoid it. So really what we're going to do here is we're going to look at everything that a lot of people have been saying, and I want to just inform you guys by giving you as much information as possible that's out there, and hopefully you can come up with your own decision. I'll give you some, and I'll definitely give you my opinion on it as well. But right off the bat, when we look at what critics recommend this game, on average, 82%. And the player rating is at a 40. Now, when you see a difference like this, that's not good. I believe the job of a game journalist is to inform the consumer to how they can correctly spend their money or help them spend their money in some way. Just give them information. Try to give them as much true information as possible. When there's a difference right here, the critics are no longer serving the consumers. If there's such a big difference like this, and it is very scary. I want to look at what people feel about this game first before we look at what the critics are saying, even though it's getting 8 out of 10s, 3 out of 5s, 4 out of 5s, 7 out of 10s, 4 out of 5. You would think this is a Call of Duty game with how decent this game's going with their ratings, how good the ratings are going. When we look at the trailer for it, you have 14,000 views. This is the trailer that IGN posted 5 days ago with only 235 likes. I don't have the extension to say how many dislikes it has, but I can't imagine 14,000 views and only getting 200 likes is a good thing. You can cross-reference this with the comment section right here. No voice acting at all is really killing me, especially coming from a recent Digimon game. I have a clip of the voice acting that we'll look at earlier. It's kind of silly and it's kind of ridiculous, and even Legend of Zelda has voice acting now. The only character that doesn't talk is Link, and that's okay. It still works. I mean, you look at the Halo, Master Chief could have gone the whole game without speaking. He didn't speak in Dead or Alive. I remember that much as a kid. Nintendo needs to pressure Game Freak into coming into the modern day development quality like what they did with Breath of the Wild. Look, I was just talking about that. It looks fun, but this game is Nintendo DS quality gameplay. This is a Wii game. The charm of Pokemon game lies in exploration diversity. And yes, this game is contained in a single city, in Lumino City, I think was in X and Y, and you don't get to adventure out. So it's changing a lot, and change can be good, but you got to be careful with that, especially when you have a franchise that has such an identity. No voice acting, again, low quality animations, lazy if cutting corners for a video game. Don't waste your money, get the Digimon instead. And this has made me look at a Digimon. I haven't fully played through a Digimon game ever. And I might actually buy the Digimon game just because I'm so curious at how well it's probably doing. When we go over online and you see the people that are saying good things about it, they're really, they like the aesthetics, you know? It's kind of cool that you can be a trainer that walks around with your Pokemon like your Ash and Pikachu. Some of the character designs are some things that people are really talking about. Really, really has to do with, you know, aesthetically people are very happy with the aesthetics of this game. I mean, they can't get enough of them. But also, whenever you go in here and you do listen to the voice acting, you realize it's non-existent. They do have good sound quality. The music seems pretty decent. They even got the sound of him clapping hands together and moving, and at one point there was even a concert, but no one was talking. It was just noise and cheering, and I don't even know if there was music playing. Now, when we look at the people that are critiquing the game, You have someone that says, I just rolled credits on Pokemon Legends Z through A. I'm gonna skim through this. Pokemon Legends is so bad though. Story could have been post-game storyline, barely any substance. And that's something that I've seen when doing some research and looking into this and trying to show you guys trying to give you guys quality information to show you. A lot of people are saying that the storyline is just there's barely any substance. Aftermath of X and Y, side characters, annoying and forgettable. Character design is a mixed opinion. I've seen more people praise the character design, but that might just be the people who are enjoying the game or trying to enjoy the game because they spent $70 on it. So, and considering that no one's really talking about the gameplay or how much they love the gameplay, they're mostly talking about character design. That can be a red flag. Parkour is so poorly done. I've heard multiple things about that. Looking back, Legend Arceus, you could literally climb mountain swim. Sounds like Breath of the Wild. I was actually intrigued with Legend Arceus. I played it once, but never beat it. Only Capital Kalos. Personally, I don't see why people are praising the gameplay that much. Maybe because it's finally something different. It's alright, 1v1 battles, the rogue meta looked good. And yes, the battles I hear are just button mashing. We'll get into that later. Bear with me. Battles are done in a giant arena, and you have dodge, run, and a lot, also while attacking the rogue. And that sounds like it's a downgrade from the strategy of what Pokemon used to be. From the game aspect design, and right before the final part, my team is 1v7. Alpha randomly appear are nice, but nothing of value added. And the alphas are just like really big, strong Pokemon that can take you out. Shiny hunting game is so boring, and I'll show you what shiny hunting looks like. But it's basically just running back and forth in a section and letting the place just soft reset constantly while you have to look at a loading screen. That's basically it. He says it's a 3 to 5 out of 10 to me. If anything, made me want to play Legend Arceus again. And it's bad whenever a new game comes out and it just makes you want to play its predecessors or the previous titles before. Based on, let's see how people reply to that. It's tragic what happened. The bored Nintendo company must be stifling to work. The ending is a massive slap in the face with such disrespect. The thing is for me that the game was $20, $30 for everything. It would still be lazy, but it would be whatever and good enough fun for the price. Pricing that shit at $70 with a $30 DLC. Oh my gosh, there's a $30 DLC on top of that? I did not know that. Wow, that's there's not even a voice acting in this game. I've seen yeah, and you're pricing a game at a AAA quality, but you give us the game feels like it's been made by only a couple of people. So why are we paying for AAA quality but not getting what we're paying for? And I think that's a big thing here, but it doesn't seem like people are disagreeing with it. I also want to give you guys an emotional take. I don't like emotional arguments. I just wanted to show you what an emotional argument looks like. Anyone that thinks Pokemon Legends ZA is a good game is subhuman. It is impossible for a rational person to defend this mess. This is an emotional argument. Emotional arguments are just... And then it just disappears. That is kind of stupid. It runs away and then just disappears. You lost it. You missed. Sure, he wasn't that great at the game. That's kind of the first thing that gets said here. Are you dumb? You literally attacked it. Of course, it's going to run away. Also, keep your Pokemon on the ball if you're trying to catch Pichu. Now it's being responded to by another emotional argument. Why do you think this? It's always this fucking furry asshole doing the worst plays. Again. Emotional arguments met with emotional arguments, so no actual substance. The way you throw the Pokeball tells me you missed the toilet when you pee. Emotional argument. So, the reason I bring this up is that no one actually sits there and defends the game or any substance or talk about the mechanics or talk about why it's good or what is so good about this situation. They just attack the person's character, and it just turns into a meaningless, redundant conversation of people emotionally arguing with one another. But the point I'm trying to make here is that there is no substance for the game to be defended on, or else they would have just done that in the first place. The most succulent way to describe Pokemon Legends Zaza is amateur hour. Remarkable lack of polish from AAA studio that's been churning games out from the system for 7 years. Very disappointing. And that's kind of what I said. It's like, this is from a AAA studio. Why do people feel that way? Have you met him yet? This is the alpha. Big dog. that will come up and just mess you up. Somebody please make a comparison between this game and the first. It's sad state of affairs, and no one really argues when someone makes a point like this. This is kind of an in-between take, kind of an emotional argument, kind of like making a point of something. No one's really arguing against it. And I think that's important. And then you have people that are having some of these opinions.
We used to have fucking fairy tale. You know what fairy tales actually were? The Grimm's Brothers fairy tales. People died in child stories. Once the Disneyification and the unshitification and the softening of our species happened, everyone turned into raging fucking pussies. If Disney didn't bastardize what a fairy tale was, we wouldn't have any fucking soft, gray-ass moral bullshit in Pokemon games today. But
yeah, and I might have to go with some of the writing and some of the it's just hard to engage in the game. Again, I don't know because I don't play it, but seeing people's reaction like this is kind of crazy. This is shiny hunting. This is kind of the and it's funny that people were bringing that up before because they said shiny hunting's boring. But this is the best I could find in people being enthusiastic about the gameplay for the game is going soft resetting a map by fast traveling or loading, watching a loading screen and doing it over and over again, and then here we go again. Just shiny hunting. And it's probably the most exciting thing because shinies are just really hard to get in Pokemon in general. And the fact that people can do it and start to get shinies on themselves, that's just like, it's like, oh, you're doing something that's considered rare, but you know, how rare is it if this game allows you to farm for them in such a way that is so easy and boring? Now, I had to look for someone who actually played Pokemon games and who played the game and get their opinion, and it was more of a consumer and not really part of the big industry. I do recommend you guys go check out this guy's channel, Ziostorm. I'll put the link in the description below.
Hey, I'm Mario. I like playing video games, watching movies, and Dungeons and Dragons. If you keep getting me in your suggested videos, or you're watching this video right here, consider subscribing. It goes a long way. Thank you.
But basically, he had this to say about some of the gameplay, like the wild zones.
In a wide open world where Pokemon live naturally, you explore Lumio City, where Pokemon coexist alongside humans, except not really. There are designated wild zones throughout the world, sectioned off by these giant, ugly neon green lights that don't fit the setting at all. And these wild zones may have 4 or 5 types of Pokemon in it, and they might be one block of the city at most. There is no exploration to be had. You can see the entire zone on screen at a single time, and the Pokemon are just naturally sectioned off within the area. It may take you 5 minutes max to clear out each species in that zone. No,
okay, so that's kind of disappointing. This is why people were complaining about the exploration about the game. The game just feels mid. You walk around the city and there's a park. There's a park. It's like a dog park area that you see in like an apartment area or in a city, and you go in there and you're in the designated area to fight and capture Pokemon. And he goes on and he talks about being like, there is no challenge in the game. You can capture Pokemon after they fainted. So you can just go around one-shotting Pokemon with your strongest guy that you have on your team and then throw a Pokeball and capture them. You can run away at any time. You can escape. There's no real danger challenge, especially if you're fighting or you're challenging other trainers, which has never been a thing before in other Pokemon games. And you don't really miss throws. If you miss throws, there are people that go around the city, scavengers that find your Pokeball and bring them back to you, or you can go pick them up someplace else. There's no strategy or thought to the game. It's all just there for you to mindlessly do something. And my takeaway from that, if I'm going to frame that part, is it's just content gaming. And content gaming's been something that's been plaguing video games of recent times and recent AAA games. I mean, I felt like it was in the most recent Borderlands games. I also felt like it's been in other AAA studio games that have been coming out. And it's really, what I mean by content gaming is, I mean, they just put stuff in there to put stuff in there. I feel it in Ghost of Yotai. It doesn't fit within the narrative. It doesn't fit within the character's growth. It's not a metaphor. It's not a part of the world building. It's not a part of the lore. It's just there for the players to do something because the developer thought it would be fun for a whole of 5 minutes, and then you're stuck doing it for the rest of the game. That's why there's no challenge. That's why there's nothing in there. They want people to just pick this up, feel like they've succeeded, and move on because it's not connected to anything else that the game has to offer. Next, I believe he talks about story here.
Be changed. Like everything else in Legends ZA, the story is incredibly boring and feels like it was written by ChatGPT. The dialogue even follows a lot of the same patterns that ChatGPT does, so I am kind of inclined to think they use.
And that is kind of scary. If the story feels like it's been written by AI, wouldn't be surprised in this time of age. And you know what? You can use AI as an assistant, but for it to do most of the work for you, that just, or for it to feel like your game is being written by someone with no creativity and just throwing slop everywhere, that just feels really bad. There's no immersion when it comes to it. He goes on to say that they're constantly talking about how there's danger in the city, but it never looks like there's danger in the city. All the players and all the characters and trainers just stand around. Pokemon just stand around. People say, "Oh man, it's horrible how much of a mess Pokemon cause in this city," and yet you never see it. The game just tells you how you should feel. The story just tells you what you should feel, never immerses you into the open world, never brings it out forward. And I think that's why people find it boring and dull and are just not having a good time doing any of it. Side quests, from what he is saying, it consists of just like one objective fetch quest, just like, hey, show me if you have a Pikachu, and you're like, oh, I got a Pikachu, and you show him the Pikachu and you completed the quest. All of it is just there to make it easier and streamlined and to get as many people to be able to play the game as possible and not focus on the niche audience. There's no longer consequences in playing a Pokemon game. Bring it to his last point is the battles. I think this is probably the most important part because this is the reason why you go to play the game and kind of what you're going to be doing most of the time.
Actually get down to it. You just kind of end up button mashing whatever move is not on cooldown. Of course, you have your type advantages and stuff to consider, but there's no consequence for using a move that isn't very effective because the move that you want to use is on cooldown, and it's not like you're wasting a turn or anything. You can just use it for extra chip damage in the meantime while you wait for your better move to come along. Now, as someone who does not like turn-based...
So, that sounds boring. That sounds like such a takeaway from the strategy that what Pokemon used to be. Just sitting there spamming other moves while you're waiting for moves to be on cooldown, no longer having an X amount of moves so that you have to go refresh them because you've used them all, or you have to switch out Pokemon. There's no challenge, there's no struggle when playing this game. It's all meant to just hold your hand and guide you and give you what you want and take care of you the entire time, and it comes off as completely and utterly boring because challenge, strife, difficulty, punishment, even a little bit of punishment can go a long way in playing a video game and making you feel like you're succeeding in fulfillment. This game feels like it's just trying to make you happy, and it's just trying to get people to settle with it and like, oh, look, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing that hurts you. And it's just too safe. It all feels too safe, and it makes it no fun. Whereas like previous Pokemon games were way more challenging than this, and we all played them as kids back then. So when we go back, if I were to score this game based on what people were saying, and I'm going to give more of a broader scoring system than I usually do because I haven't actually played the game and I can't give you guys firsthand knowledge. But based off of my metrics here, you know, I would not, it does not pass. It does not do what it needs to do to pass, right? I think it's doing the bare minimum. So I think at best it can get to a 6. And then I think it's a 4. So I think it's anywhere from a 4 between a 6. It's bad. You want to forget it. Not memorable, mixed, or doing the bare minimum. And if honestly, based on what a lot of people are saying, I would probably have rated this game as 4 and not have gone back to it, not have looked back at it. Now, I said we were going to look at what some of the other reviewers were saying, and I want to compare this. Why are they giving it an 8 out of 10? There's got to be an answer here somewhere, right? Well, IGN, Pokemon Legends, ZA finally feels like a game freak hitting its stride. Oh man. In Pokemon 3D era, with a fun setting to explore, a well-written story, and a total battle system overhaul that works surprisingly well. We gotta read this. I can't not read this and go through here. And never has a Pokemon game setting been so integral to its story and themes. So she compares it to Yakuza, a game that is beloved by a niche group of people. CA's plot is civic-minded rather than just being about it becoming strong and filling monster encyclopedia. Your goal is centered around training and protecting the city you now call home. See, okay, so this, you got to be careful with this type of language, because that's technically your goal in the other games as well, is protecting your country or protecting your city, your land, your area, your region. That's what they're called. Protecting your region from terrorist organizations like Team Rocket. So this doesn't actually talk about the game. This doesn't actually give merit to the game at all. It's just fluff. As you grow, you encounter a cast of characters with different, and then she completely changes the subject. This is, again, imagine she's not talking about Pokemon ZA. This fits with every other Pokemon. Ideas about the Lumino City needs to thrive, some of whom clash with one another. ZA wrestles with some actual real-world ideas as it questions what it means when multiple groups of people, or I guess creatures, inhabit the same space, but have very different needs, and who should be prioritized when those needs conflict. Again, still talking about any Pokemon game. This is a giant burger of nothing. One sour note, okay, here's a critique. Lack of voice acting. I'll be honest, I've played Pokemon so often for so long, not having voice acting. Okay, so that maybe that's why it didn't get a 10 out of 10, because it didn't have voice acting. Where it became a problem, however, is major story cutscenes where characters dramatically move their mouths and flailing their arms around while absolutely no sound comes out. That's kind of funny. What else do they say in here? Lumino's visually uninteresting, but that doesn't mean it's uninteresting to explore. I've dinged the visual uninterest, yeah, because of the flat surfaces. They're literally made out of boxes. It's just not, people have not had anything nice to say about how visually this game looks. Empty world devoid of real reasons. Okay, so I've had issues with both Arceus and Scarlet Violet. They were both big empty worlds devoid of real reasons to explore beyond the surface. Wow. Those two predecessors tried to capture the vast scale of Pokemon world, but actually open areas lack real detail. So like most open world games. Much of the maps consisted of enormous fields, meaningless items, scattered, offered interesting. Why even have a giant world if you're not going to make it? By shrinking the world down to manageable size, Game Freak is being able to find ideas. This I could probably agree with. I could see how this is a good thing. You're spending less time moving in empty space and you're grabbing things, but the platforming I heard was just kind of annoying. Collectibles at the end, rather amusingly cumbersome platforming segments. That is such a passive aggressive way to say they were a chore. Amusingly cumbersome platforming segments. Okay. It's impressive how well Game Freak managed to translate combat into a completely different genre. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I was concerned by the early trailers that this was about smashing the same offensive moves into opponents with little actual strategy. Well, that's how the other guy explained it, but that's far from the case. The indirect movement, while a little chunky to get used to, introduces an interesting strategic layer, positioning as you play. Now, I did hear that there is no real movement in the game, but she's saying there is. With the flow of dodge and attacking, the moves themselves are delightfully complex in both their variety. Okay, explain to me how they're complex. Has changed them to fit the action genre while keeping their spirit alive. Short range moves, for instance, can be used very quickly, but put you in danger of being hit. Long range moves can be a bit of time. That is the complexity of the game. Short goes fast, long goes slow. Short go. You remember when you used to just have to know the Pokemon type, you have to know the speed, you have to know if it was a special attack, you had to know if they had special defense. Remember when you had to know when a Pokemon was either just naturally faster, or if you trained your Pokemon to be faster, if you had IVs or EVs in order to make your Pokemon fast and you min-maxed them so you could hit first. This is complexity, guys. We have short moves fast and long means slow. Wow. Can be used very quickly, put you in danger of being hit. Moves like Protect and Detect have a bit of a time to wind. Been reconfigured to be used almost like Parry. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Remember how like you use Protect, but if you spam Protect too many times, it stops working? Now it's a parry. Fire Spin, Sand Trap, areas of effect to the ground. You can try to lure enemies to... this one, I'm not going to lie. The Sand Trap areas and the effects, that kind of sounds cool if you're trying to be engaging and interactive. I will say that does sound kind of cool. But it is not more strategic. It's not as strategic as using, spikes and sacrificing one of your Pokemons to set up on your enemy so that way they're screwed. You're poisoning or you're putting toxic on all of them, and it's just status effects have been overhauled. Paralyzed slows down significantly with confusion, sometimes causes your Pokemon to one another. That's not an overhaul. That's the same thing. They don't attack. Oh, I guess they don't hit themselves. Mega Evolutions got revamped and adds more complexity and layers. Okay, so I can't read this anymore. It's a big ball of nothing, and it's just Pokemon Legends feels Game Freak is hitting its stride. City may not visually be exciting, but exciting Pokemon encounters. We saw the gameplay. It looked boring. Well-written characters and amusing side quests. That's a lie. That's just a lie. You know what? I haven't played the game. I can't say. But based on what I've seen, I don't understand how she could say that. Why are they well-written? Tell me why they're well-written. And it's because... What do the comics say about this? Definitely a game that would be a 5... The first comment with 51 likes completely disagrees with the review. The top comment. Pokemon was outdated a long time ago and never needed to innovate because nobody expected much from GBA. Oh my, it's crazy how much of a curve Pokemon games are judged. Jeez. 107 likes. Bro, she's getting cooked. Simple palette swapping NPC's clothing is getting praised in a review for a game in 2025. We have a meta-human NPC generator making millions of lifelike diverse NPCs, but in Pokemon some NPCs have a beard. Wow. Okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one that saw through the empty burger. Look. Luminal City could do some work, so there's some repetition here. A lot of the same complaints the players have, the reviewers have as well. As much more tightly focused, delightful, goofy, return to better form. The dream sold to us by the Pokemon anime, it's right here, clearer than ever. Oh my god, that does not, no. Shame on you, Games Radar, to say that this is as immersive and as engaging as watching the anime. Pokemon Legends EA successfully translates its iconic battle system to real time, but its visual presentations leave a lot to be desired. There's some consistency in the visual presentation. There's consistency, but it's like they're all saying the same thing. It's all like they're all been given a script to say and they're saying the same thing. How are they not able? How do none of these reviews look different? Why? Hopefully Game Freak will continue using Legends series as a playground. Pokemon Legends A flips everything I thought I knew about Pokemon battles on its head, putting a fresh spin on nearly 30-year-old. Dude. So here's the problem with the battle system. If you like the battle system, cool. But it essentially alienates the core audience of Pokemon. You can do, if you want to innovate, go ahead. You can do what Expedition 33 did. You can do what Final Fantasy Rebirth did. But do not alienate your core audience, because you lose them, you lose the game. And that's the thing about this review. That's the thing about this game right here. Why are reviewers giving it such high praise? I don't know the specifics, but I can tell you what I see. And what I see is that they base their games based on if it works or not. And that is a poor way to judge and critique any type of media for a consumer. Of course, we want it to work. The expectation is that it should work, right? Your rubric system should not be, oh, the buttons work, the start system works. Oh, there's not as many bugs as Skyrim. So therefore, this is a 7 out of 10. It's a good game. Everything works. Things should not just meet a 7 out of 10 just because everything works. It should be about the experience and the merits that the game is trying to provide to its audience. And that's the problem with Game Journal Media, is that it just works. Therefore, we're going to give it an 8 out of 10. I still stand by what I say. I think this game's anywhere from a 4 to a 6 out of 10. It doesn't look good. I'm glad I didn't spend $70 on it. How do we change this? How do we look at this? We continue to give our reviews, and we vote with our wallets. You know, if it's a game you do not want to support, if it's a game that looks bad, don't buy it. Don't buy it. Go back and replay some of the older Pokemon games. It sucks, but it's better than spending $70 and having a miserable time playing it. So it's kind of sad to see the Pokemon games like this. I only want them to turn around. I only want them to do good. But tell me what you guys think. For those of you guys that played it, are you having a good time? Are you not having a good time? And until next time, guys, play nice.